Welcome to another Greencast. I am pleased that you are here listening to this. And this Greencast is just to get you thinking about your project and the contributions of the Roman Empire, and perhaps inspire you to think about some ways in which some of these ancient contributions, these ancient achievements, contributed to our modern day. So I just wanted to start by showing you some images and just giving you some ideas about what you could be thinking about. Here is an ancient Roman bridge. You learned about the architecture of the bridges and how strong they were. In particular, the arch we see. This particular bridge is built during Roman times, and notice the arch once again. This bridge is actually built in Rome and is still standing and is still used today. You can see the people up there. So these bridges are known for their strength and their endurance. Today, we have similar architectural style with some of our bridges. This bridge was built during the 1950s, which may seem like ancient times to you. And this was in the same style as the Roman bridges with the arcs, making them incredibly strong. This particular bridge is from a freeway in Ventura County. And another example of the same architectural style with the bridges that the Romans used. Here we have a bridge north of San Francisco on Highway 1 moving into Marin County. And once again, the arches and this style of bridge built because of its strength. Here we have some architecture from ancient times. This picture hopefully is familiar to you, or the subject of the picture is, the Roman Pantheon. And here we see that the Romans borrowed much of the Greek architectural styles. This looks a lot like the Pantheon with its columns and this triangle-shaped front here. Here we have an Egyptian obelisk. This is not part of what I'm talking about. But then also, going back to the Pantheon, we have the dome. And the Romans perfected what the Etruscans and the Greeks taught them about building arches and domes. And this is considered one of the largest cement domes ever built inside the Pantheon in Rome. Here is a picture from the outside. And so you can see the dome with the pillars in the front. Now, looking at this picture, seal this in your brain. Oops, it's gonna jump ahead. Okay, look at this building. Yeah, I thought that was gonna do that. Sorry about that. All right, look at this building with the dome, the columns, the triangle front here. Remind you of the Pantheon? Yes, a little bit. Okay, this dome is smaller, but this is our nation's capital. This is our state capital. Once again, with the pillars and the dome. So using this architectural style in buildings that our state government and our nation's government work in today. And you can see this architectural style throughout the United States in a variety of buildings. Here is the inside of the Capitol. So once again, you can see the dome, the window at the top, very beautifully decorated. All right, moving on to the Roman military. The Roman military, you might say, hey, we don't really have anything in common with the Roman military because we don't use the same style of warfare. You know, they used swords, they used spears and armor, and today we have drones to do our military work for us. However, we still have a highly organized military, and that's what I want you to think about. During Roman times, these Roman soldiers were very successful because they were highly trained and highly skilled in what they were doing. And today, our military does focus on training of specific skills related to protecting and defending our country. And so, as you can see from this picture of these sailors, these are sailors that are in boot camp. They also are highly trained, highly organized, highly skilled as a group and as individuals in order to protect the United States. All right, here's a picture of a bunch of old guys in togas. And so you might say, really, what does the Republican form of government have to do with my life? And when you hear the word Republican, you might think, oh, they're talking about the political party, but actually, no. Remember, the word republic means a representative form of democracy. And so in this case, the Romans formed initially a republic, a representative form of democracy. Now, it was organized a little bit differently than what we have today. Remember, there were two consuls, there was a senate, there were some different assemblies with different powers. But the goal of all this was to divide the powers within the government and ensure that no one person had too much power. Our Constitution was based a little bit on the Roman Republic, the idea of separation of powers, the idea of a representative form of democracy partially came from the Roman Republic, and so it directly influences us today. This is kind of a diagram of our modern government, and so you can see that there are different powers and different checks on the power that are given to each one of these branches of government. So just like the Romans that had a senate, we have a senate as well, and we also have a House of Representatives. And the idea is that these groups represent the people and voting for laws, a Republican form of government. Barbara Boxer, this is one of our senators from California. She was voted by the people. George Washington, elected president. Now, here's an interesting thing. Just like in Roman times, they did not want to have a dictator. They did not want to have a king. So the idea was the consul was set up to only serve for 1 year. George Washington was unanimously elected, first of all, and then was elected again. But we set up term limits for our presidents so that they can't gain too much power. And so here is our current president. So from George Washington all the way to President Barack Obama, we have a consistent way of choosing our next president, which keeps our government more organized. Latin language. So we've talked about this a little bit, but I want to remind you that the Latin language is roots of many different languages that you might hear or even speak today. We have Latin roots in our English language. Many of our words come from Latin roots, and so the very language you're speaking actually has some Latin in it. Going back to the languages that are spoken throughout the world today, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French are all languages with Latin roots. And so you can see this tree and how it has these modern day languages can be tied back to Latin. Aqueducts. So we've talked a little bit about aqueducts. Here's a picture, once again, sorry about the pixelation, of what the aqueducts look like. And today we have aqueducts. This is the inside of an aqueduct. Here's another picture of the inside of an aqueduct. And in California in particular, we have aqueducts throughout the state that bring water from Northern California to Southern California to Central California to water the fields. And so aqueducts were really important because water could be brought to large populations of people, and they can sustain that population through farming and through providing water using the aqueducts. And we use the same exact thing today. It's just like you're in class. Christianity. So here is a picture of Jesus Christ, and we're going to be talking about Jesus Christ and the teachings of Christianity and the early Christian church late this week, actually starting tomorrow. Christianity started out as a fairly small religion, but will begin to expand despite the persecution that people endured during Roman times. And we will be talking about why that persecution came to be. But eventually, Christianity was declared as the religion of Rome. Constantine, the emperor of Rome, actually had what he deemed to be a spiritual experience, and he believed that he had received a message from God, and he made Christianity the religion of Rome. And eventually the Roman Catholic Church was set up, And this church will dominate Europe for the time period of the Middle Ages. Eventually, more churches will be created, and today there are countless Christian denominations locally that people could attend if they wish to. And so these images represent the fact that there is Christian churches throughout the United States, and that Christianity expanded, and it is a world religion. Whether it's practiced by you or your family or not, it definitely has had its influence on our culture. All right, so hopefully that is going to help you a little bit with thinking about how the Roman achievements have influenced modern day.